All right, everyone, we will be starting now. Please turn on your cameras. Um, all right. So let me welcome you all to our first very policy Manthan. Thank you so much for joining us. Now we will be starting with our very first topic, which is from chalkboards to chatbots, redefining the role of AI in education. Now we are all very much aware that AI is taking on, that in a few years, anyone with a phone and a connection to internet can use AI. And that is very convenient. But is convenience everything? And that is what we will be talking about. Is the access of AI useful or harmful, especially in the field of education? And thank you so much for everyone joining here. My name is Tanisha, and I will be the moderator for the Policy Manthan. Now, let's move on to some pointers before we begin. Now, the participants, for you to start, we must form an order. So please raise your hands, and then we will be forming up a queue. You will be starting chronologically according to the lineup that is formed. And if you have any questions or doubts, we will be taking that after these points are over. Now, you will be getting absolutely 3 to 4 minutes to start. And please do not feel any hesitation. This is a very safe and learning platform. And let's say if you even go beyond this 3 minute mark, that is it. That's absolutely fine. I will be giving you a cue. I'll either raise my hand or type in the chat box and let you know that the time is over, and make sure that your camera is on while you're speaking so we can see the confidence and you can even build your skills for public speaking. And the rest, please be patient, keep yourself on mute while others are speaking. Now, please, everyone, whoever is prepared, whoever wants to go first, kindly raise your hands. I will be calling out your names and let's get this started. We have Shambhavi, very good. All right. So we already have a lineup. So please keep on raising your hands, and according to the lineup, I will be calling out the names. I'll stop my screen now. All right, great. All right, so we have a lineup. Guys, I am very, very proud for everyone who is taking the initiative of starting first. Shambhavi, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am, I just heard out. Can we use pointers, refer to pointers while speaking?
Yeah, of course you can.
Okay,
Definitely.
ma'am, I'm ready.
All right. I'll type in the chat box when 3 minutes is up, and please make sure that you feel your best self and confident. And you'll do great. All right. Best of
Thank you,
luck.
ma'am. Ma'am, should I start?
Yes, please start. Thank you.
So, good evening, everyone. My name is Shambhavi Chaturvedi, and I'll start with a simple question. Why does change in education always scare us? When chalkboards replaced slates, people panicked. When calculators entered classroom, we were told that our thinking would die. Now with AI and chatbots, we are having the same fear, but again, that students will stop thinking and learning. But for India, this fear goes deeper. Education system itself was once a forced shift. Under British rule, education moved away from gurukuls of critical inquiry and holistic learning to classrooms, making mechanical robots for the Britishers to use as clerks, not creators. This legacy still haunts us. Road learning, exam obsession, mechanical learning. It's the legacy of the British colonial rule that we are forced upon, and we are still following it. So when we talk about moving from chalkboards to chatbots, the fear is very valid. Are we repeating the same? Are we repeating the history that of repeating the mistakes without questioning its impact on the Indian system? I today stand in favor of AI in education, but only if you use it critically, consciously, and not blindly follow it. Here's the reality. India has over 250 million schools and 250 million students and 1.5 million schools. One teacher is equals to 40 or 50 students and one syllabus and one case. So, personalized education has always been a dream for us. And let me be honest, for the first time, AI has made this dream possible to some reality. A chatbot doesn't get tired, it doesn't judge. It can explain one question in seven different ways at 2 in the morning to a student in language the student understands. So, where the fear kicks in. Education is not just about answers, it's about hesitation, it's about confusion, debate, and discussion. A chatbot can generate information, but it cannot replace the look of a teacher when you answer a question and the teacher says that you are thinking differently, try to discover it or try to explore it. So, if we let AI dominate classrooms, we risk creating students who can generate prompts for ChatGPT but not know the conceptual clarity of the subject. That's why AI must remain a tool and not a teacher. The National Education Policy 2020 talks about critical thinking, flexibility, and Indian knowledge system. AI should help us move away from the British era model of uniformity, not push us deeper into mechanical learning. It should make us holistically develop in every aspect we talk about, maybe it mental health, be it craft, be it because craft also makes our mental health as we use our fingers. So it makes our mental health better and supports our emotional stability. So AI should be used for as a tool to guide teachers for attendance, grading purpose, and for stopping repetitive tasks, and for teachers to do what machines cannot. Teachers mentor, guide, and inspire. So this transition from chalkboards to chatbots is not about technology; it's about intent. If we adopt AI with ethics, it can benefit our society very well and develop Indian values of inclusivity, curiosity, and dialogue. AI can help us undo the British era of the colonial dominance and help us integrate our education system to move forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shambhavi. That was amazing. Great. Next, we have Akansha. Are you ready?
Yes, yes, I am. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. Yes, please start.
Um, so starting off, I think it's too much of a complex topic to have two sides of a coin, let's say black and white. I think uh, we need to understand that we have entered into a world of AI and there's no going back. You can't realistically or practically go to a world where AI does not exist. So I think there should be more discussions and talkings about how to ethically use AI and how to have regulations on AI rather than whether or not to use AI, because now you will use AI. AI has entered into your homes, your schools, and everywhere that you use your phone. So we have to learn how to ethically use it. So I today in today's discussion, I'm for the stance of using AI in education, because there are, as my previous speaker told, the many advantages of AI. From the student side, it helps them in assignments. It helps them make abstract concepts, make them understand more easier, free from judgment. Um, right, there's for an introverted student, if you think of from an introverted student perspective, it's like such a challenge to go to a teacher and ask for a doubt, right? And then there's AI that will explain it to you again and again until you understand. It's such a friend, a kind of a friend that is a guide to you, that guides to in making assignments, in making everything in, let's put it in a more practical way, in, let's say, cheating in your assignments as well, right? But then in teachers, for teachers as well, it helps them in grading and planning better assignments and challenging students in a more holistic way. But then according to a study that was made in 2023, a national survey, half of the students have used AI, at least one generative tool, but then 71% of teachers have never used AI because of their, let's say, orthodox training of how teaching should be done. But I think for us to realize the full potential of AI, it is important that in a classroom, teachers are using it, educators are using it more than the students. That is when I think the full potential of AI can be seen. Then there is this is about the rigidity about among the teachers to use AI. There are accountability issues as well, right? When you're using AI, let's say a kid of 8th standard, let's say, has used AI to do an assignment and had learned from that assignment and put that information into his exam and had failed, right? Because it is sometimes AI is not credible. It gives false information. You don't know whom to blame. Now, if the child has failed, do you blame the child because the AI he has used AI, or do you blame the designers or developers who have developed AI? So there's a gap between who is responsible. There's a gap of accountability that needs to be done. So I think there is a proper regulation that is needed, proper ethical norms that needs to be brought about. There needs to be ethical standards in implementing AI, especially in classrooms. uh, when I'm saying all of this, I feel like it's more my speaking. It's more towards, am I against AI? I am not. I am for AI. The thing is, you have to know how to use it, and these disadvantages are there. You have to just deal with it now and make sure that you have ethically a regulator. There are regulatory norms from the government also to use it in classrooms. So in conclusion, I would just say that we will be on the safe side. We'll be on the safe road until AI remains our assistant and not vice versa. Thank you.
Thank you, Akansha. That was very well put. And moving on, we have Shivangi. Are you ready? Please turn on your camera.
Am I audible and visible?
I cannot see you. Can others see her video? Yeah, we cannot see your video, Shivangi.
Just a second, let me check once again. It might be a
Yeah.
network issue. I've already opened it, so
It's all right. We can hear you. So, are you ready?
yeah, I'm ready.
Sure, like I'll begin the timer now. Best of luck.
Thank you. So, greetings everyone, and let me begin with the thing Alfred Toffler once said. The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Now, when we're standing at the precipice of fourth industrial revolution, we need to understand that today the question is not whether AI has to be there or not, but rather how we use it, as the previous speaker already mentioned. But because we don't have enough data and AI, generative AI, is new to us, therefore, all we can do is predict and look uh, towards the countries or towards the places where it has already been incorporated in the systems. For example, intelligence plus strategy in China or the human loop in the loop frameworks in the United States have already been starting to implement it. So the thing is that these nations are already using AI, and it depends and it becomes important for us to use AI as well. Now, why AI has such a great importance is because here it can actually help teachers to provide individualized learning to the students. Today, when we see in the pupil teacher ratio and the question of accessibility for many students who might not be able to go and contact their teachers 24 into 7, this is not the case when AI is there. Therefore, AI can help to provide this accessibility to the students, and it also help us to have a pedagogy for the students who are neurodivergent, and for the students who might require a lot of support from us and from individual teachers, which might not be possible in a classroom of 30 to 40 students. Therefore, AI actually provides this accessibility and an opportunity for these students to learn at their own individualized pace and to understand this. Secondly, the thing is that AI can use in administrative work, which has been happening like with China and United States and many other European countries have already started to adopt this. So the thing is that a lot of grade work, the hectic paperwork, the 40% of teachers' week which goes into these things, these maybe not so useful for students thing can be utilized. This time would be utilized and be transformed and diverged towards the students, so to teach them on an individual basis, or to provide them more time to interact with the students so that they can also have more participatory thing
and inspire them to innovate and discover. Also important is that things that uh, these AIs can help us form assessments which reduce biases. For example, right now we have a lot of tests which might be, maybe have a certain kind of regional bias or cultural bias, making certain students disadvantages in these aptitude tests or assessment things, which may not be the case if AI is preparing it because it does not have an initial bias. Now, important thing we need to understand is that AI, despite these advantages, is still is lacking in many ways. So first is that it it is like it provides a lot of inconsistent and information which is not right or not authorized. Also, many students, as previous speaker said, that has a lot of cognitive offloading, that they're already using generative AI, so they to gain a lot of grades and to you know complete their assignment in a very less time. Therefore, immediate steps that we can take is that creation of analog zones. That is, we create and mandate AI-free sanctuaries within schools for experimentation and hands-on innovation, where students are given activities that involve critical thinking. Secondly, we have to shift from solo transactional assignments to collaborative projects by forcing students to debate and iterate together like we are doing it right now, so that the students can socialize and have effective communication and can think while being uh, put in a situation where they are forced to think even if they might not be thinking or may not be able to you know think in a way that induces innovation or maybe in a way that helps them to have a consideration for others around them. And lastly, because AI is there, the lack of human element might occur. Therefore, there needs to be emotional safety net for these students. So we can also have a mandated weekly sessions, psychological counselor sessions for these students uh, for their social and emotional well-being while we're incorporating AI. Because even though AI in schools can be limited, at home they already have it. Therefore, it becomes uh, important that at least at schools we provide them environment wherein they're forced to think, innovate, and experiment, and have that emotional human element uh, to inspire them and motivate them to work towards it. That's it. Thank you.
That was great, Shivangi, especially the input that you put at the end about how schools are supposed to be playing an important role, especially with the role of AI. So, inviting the next participant, Akshat, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am, I'm ready. Can
All
you
right.
hear me?
Yes, yes, definitely.
Just a word of caution. I am under the weather today, so if my voice gets cracked or internet gets disconnected, please warn me.
No, okay, all right, I'll do that. And thank you for joining, even though you were sick.
It's,
All right,
I really like this topic, so I prepared extensively for it.
wonderful, wonderful. So I'll start the timer.
Yeah,
Great, best of luck.
okay. Good evening, everyone. Today, stand in favor of the idea that AI is not just a tool in education. It is a turning point. So it's not the first turning point in education. We have had such points. Well, from examples of history, the first such turning point was the invention of printing press by Gutenberg. Then came the internet, and then came the smartphones in 2008. Now it's AI. For decades, education has followed a simple one size fits all model. One teacher, one pace, one syllabus, one classroom. But in India, the student teacher ratio is 1 to 47, which is very concerning. And as we all know, students are not identical. Some learn extremely fast, some don't because they are different. But AI can change this reality. It can explain a concept 10 times or 100 times or 1,000 times. If you use AI and you can't understand a complex uh, question, you can just type a prompt to make it dumber or make it easier, and you will easily understand it. It gives you extra practice if you need. You can ask questions in the prompt following. and it can support you at any hour of the day where teachers are not available. You just have a random 2 a.m. thought and you can just go and ask AI and it will give you an answer. It becomes a bridge to education and not just a shortcut, because sometimes some students have really difficulties even asking to teachers. And sometimes even teachers themselves don't know, because the quality of education in many schools of India is not up to the mark. Also, AI acts as an equalizer. A student in a remote area in a village far off has the same access as someone living in Delhi. They can listen to the quality explanation that AI provides, practice the same questions, and get the same guidance. It can help with language translation. So somebody who is from Hindi medium can access English medium material. It can summarize a whole file that has been made in English to Hindi into some key concepts so that the student can understand. It can help you solve doubts from within that file, and it can help you make skills. But here's the point: AI should never replace teachers, it should upgrade them. Teaching will no longer be, sorry, teachers will no longer be limited to routine tasks like checking repetitive assignments or rewriting the same explanations daily. If you ask a teacher, this makes the bulk of their workload and it doesn't go to uh, teaching their students. Instead, they can focus on what truly matters, like mentoring students, building discipline in students, shaping the character of our students, and encouraging independent thinking. In short, you can put it as AI can take the mechanical part of learning, so teachers can strengthen the human part. However, as students and the future leaders of the nations, we must not only focus on building skill but cognizance, awareness, and responsibility. There's a very big debate on AI ethics. When and where should AI be used? Some use it for their assignments, some use it to take some reference material. Now, some will argue one is right, one is wrong. Well, the borders are not clearly drawn, so we must now go ahead with precaution. Also, we must some must avoid over dependence on AI, adding some sensitive information so that your privacy doesn't get leaked, and fairness so AI that so it doesn't become another system that benefits only the privileged. If we use it blindly, AI can create smart students, but with weak judgment, they will take the thing. AI will take the thinking part out of the humans. But if we use it wisely, we can create learners who are both intelligent and accountable. So AI is belonging in education only. That's not the real question. The real question is, will we use it to create a generation that only copies answer, or a generation that curates knowledge, asks better questions, and leads with clarity? And one last point that I heard during the speeches is that no, AI is actually biased. It is biased according to data you feed it. Yeah, so AI system develops bias from like actual data you feed it. Like in America, if you give data that white people are more prone to return loans, so it will make sure to avoid other races and other genders and show bias against them from giving them loans. So AI is inherently biased, and we should be aware of this AI bias. So yeah, with this, I would like to end my speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Akshat. You really explored the scope of AI and gave the following speakers a lot to think about. So, Prajwal, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Just 1 second.
Sure.
Okay, so I would like to speak against the topic. So while AI is being celebrated as a revolutionary force in education, I argue that redefining education around AI is not progress. It is a risk that we are normalizing it too quickly. Education is not a productivity problem that needs automation, it is a human process that requires struggle, dialogue, mentorship, and moral judgment. Now, AI systems like ChatGPT, they can generate answers instantly, but learning is not about speed, It's about depth. So when students outsource thinking to machines, education turns into consumption, but not cognition. Also,
Um, is his video hanged for like everyone? Is his video buffering? Yeah, Prajwal, can you please maybe turn off your camera because I think there's a internet connection problem from your side.
sorry, there was some network issue.
Yeah, it's all right. You can just turn off your video and continue. It's fine.
Yeah, so several universities globally, they have reported a sharp rise in AI assisted plagiarism. So students submit perfectly worded essays without understanding a single argument. So this does not enhance learning. If students stop learning how to think and only learn what to submit, education fails its core purposes. Secondly, AI threatens critical thinking. So cognitive science clearly shows that effort, confusion, and even failure are essential to learning. But AI removes that friction. So why struggle with a math problem or historical interpretation when a chatbot can solve it in seconds? So over time, this trains dependency, not intelligence. Thirdly, the idea that AI improves quality education ignores the ground reality, especially in countries like India. According to multiple reports, millions of students still lack reliable internet devices or digital literacy. Pushing AI centric education, it creates a two-tier system. Like for example, like elite students, the students with AI support and marginalized students, they are left behind. So this is not inclusion. This is kind of like technological elitism. So finally, now teachers are being reduced to facilitators while machines are framed as personal tutors. Now this is dangerous because a teacher does not just teach a subject; they model values, discipline, empathy. So, so we cannot replace a chatbot, that human connection. So AI it can be a tool, but redefining education around AI, it is not progress. So chatbots risk creative passive learners who have answers but they lack the understanding. So the futures of education, it should strengthen the human intelligence, not surrender to AI. Thank you.
Great, Prajwal. I think that gives us quite an insight for everyone who is for AI to think about the downsides of it as well. And yes, Ayushi, are you ready? You can go ahead. It's fine.
Okay, ma'am. I will keep my video off just to avoid any network issues popping up, if that's
Yeah,
okay
no,
with everybody. All
yeah, no,
right.
cool.
So, yes, so I stand against the idea that AI should redefine education. We should actually think again. We might AI just might not just be the modern panacea for educational challenges, because think about it. Human essence of education can never be either replicated or replaced, because teaching is an art. Teaching is emotion oriented. Teaching is not just context delivery, it is mentorship, it is empathy, it is like motivation, a connection that happens between students and teachers. So it also provides us emotional support, very nuanced guidance, which AI can never replicate. I don't think so in any in near even in near future. And as my previous speaker mentioned, it will actually widen the education inequalities, while well resourced schools can afford like edge technology, while underdeveloped schools might just end up lagging behind. Lagging behind, when I mention lagging behind, I'm not mentioning lagging behind intellectually, but in the context of modernity. So, since my master's is my focus is in petroleum and petromodernity, something that people don't really think much is the environmental issues that come up in AI driven education, because AI can be framed like an immaterial, not a material object, but it can be immaterial, but it's very extractive in nature, because data centers consume massive amount of electricity and water. AI also depends on rare earth minerals like cobalt, like lithium, like nickel. These rare minerals are found in places that are very conflicted. For example, cobalt is found in Congo. Congo is highly conflicted, because and big AI companies are trying to get hold of that mineral resource, but more than half of the population in Congo doesn't even have electricity. So, so again, e-waste from devices disproportionately, especially it affects the global south, because global south is like a dumping area for all these devices. Also, we should also focus that there is a lot of greenwashing that these ed tech companies do. They emphasizes employability, they emphasizes on skills, they emphasizes on innovations, but they completely ignore like climate justice and environmental ethics and ecological limits. So this creates a students, this brings this diverts a students focus from who are at the end of the day are digitally skilled but ecologically illiterate. So I would like to conclude my speech by saying that AI, I'm not saying is a bad thing, but AI, when used in tandem with traditional or conventional teaching, a traditional conventional teaching that focuses a lot on environmental issues and climate issues and moral issues, um, I think AI can be used as an effective tool, but we should not let AI completely redefine educational system. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayushi. I was actually waiting for this point for someone to think about the environmental impacts. That was great. Next up, who do we have? Dell, I think. Please introduce yourself and turn on your camera.
Hello, good evening.
All right.
My name
Yeah,
is
hi.
Madhuri. My name is Madhuri. Okay.
All right, I'll
So
start
I'm
the
going,
timer. Best of luck.
yeah, thank you. So I'm going to take a stance against AI. I believe indeed AI is a powerful tool, but we cannot really think of adopting it for our education system when we are talking about India, because the current scenario in Indian education infrastructure is not really pleasant. We are aware our schools, our government schools, lack basic necessities and resources, where children are struggling to afford basic their school bags, books, and pens, and other necessary resources. So, how can we expect expensive technology to be available to them? So, I think again, these points were raised earlier also, that it will widen the gap. It will widen the digital divide between the urban and the rural children's. And according to the statistics reports that I conducted, 50% students in India don't have access to stable internet connection. And a very close example we have seen is the COVID, because everything was moved online, the education was taking place online, and there was a highest dropout rate during that time because of the lack of devices, lack of smartphones, lack of internet connection. So people were not able to get education during that time. So we need to keep that in mind when we are thinking about AI, because I know it's a booming technology right now, and we need to take advantage of it, of course. But jumping onto the bandwagon just because everyone else is doing isn't a good solution right now, because we need to think from like both the perspectives. India is a diverse country. We have like all sorts of people here, and the statistics reports clearly states that 50% of schools have internet connection in India, and 57% have functional computers. So without computers, without devices, AI cannot be helpful. In schools and colleges, again, we can take up help of AI for assignments, and it can be like, it's good when we are typing in the queries and the AI is generating uh, answers in few seconds. It's good, but again, the question remains same: does it contains human emotions and empathy that we require in education system? I don't think so right now, because no matter how much the technology will try to adapt to human actions, but it will not never reach that cognitive level of humanity. So when we cannot compare a human and a bot. So my point will be that we cannot expect a chatbot to have that critical sense of how to deal with a human. Again, if we like try to replace it completely with the current methodology, I think that will be a little hazardous for the young minds, because too much of exposure to these technology will kill the creativity. It will kill the critical thinking and analysis power of students. They will stop questioning. So it's good for quick answers. It can help you with assignments, of course, homeworks, everything, but it cannot be the problem solver for every issue. We all are witnesses of it. We all are using technology right now. We are aware how distracting the technology is. Even if we are providing the mediums to students, are we sure that they will use it for that purpose only? I don't think so, because we all are using internet. We all are using multiple apps, and we know how distracting it is, and we keep juggling between tabs. So we cannot expect the student to be sincere with the education when they are studying online. Again, technology comes with a responsibility. We need to be very responsible, and right now we don't have a methodology that trains students on how to ethically use these technologies. AI, it consumes human data, and we don't know what kind of data we need to share with it. Despite multiple awareness campaigns, we don't know the severity of sharing our personal data with the chatbots, because we don't, the government also doesn't have control over all the apps. It only has control over the apps that are produced in India, that are developed in India. But what about the apps that are generated in America? These data is definitely moving to that country. We need to be really sensitive. The data is really sensitive, and we need to make sure that we don't submit it carelessly. So there needs to be a methodology to train students, to train people on how to use these technologies responsibly. Because again, chatbots, using AI is an art, and we have seen that there are courses available on how to prompt a chatbot correctly. So definitely we need to train people on how to communicate with a chatbot. Again, the government of India has taken a really great initiative in this direction also. It has launched Diksha and Swayam portals for making education accessible. Other than that, it has launched Swayam Prabha channel also. For students who don't have smartphone devices, they can do it through the TV. But again, the infrastructure is still weak. In rural areas, people don't have TVs also. So we need to consider that also. For college level students, we have Skill India Digital Hub that trains students on different skills. It provides courses, so people can take help from these courses. But again, the question arises is, are people taking it seriously? Because some people are doing it for certificates only, just to show it on their CV. So AI, AI, digital education, all this comes with a question mark also. So we need to address those problems first before thinking about replacing it. Because again, we need a balanced approach. Teachers and, if we start debating about whether the technology is better, whether human is better, it will keep on going. The debate will never end. We need to balance it. We need to slowly and slowly merge it with the Indian education system. We need to be really slow with this pace, because it will not happen in a day. And we need to understand that human cannot replace technology, and technology will can never replace human. Technology can make the things easier, and teachers should adopt it for their convenience. But for students, I'm little skeptical, because students need to learn the responsibility of using technology first. So I will end my point that we can use it as a tool, but again, thinking of AI as a teacher, I think that's not a possible solution right now.
All right. Thank you, Madhuri. That was very articulately put. Vanshika, you may go after Atharv. Are you ready, Atharv, with your speech?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. Please start.
Okay, so first I'll give an overview about AI. So artificial intelligence, it became popular in the world in around later part of the 2023 with the introduction of ChatGPT, which actually gained a massive popularity from the people under the age of 25, which in India most of them are students. After that, many AI tools were introduced, but ChatGPT it stood out by attracting 70% of AI user traffic, and India also significantly contributed to it because 8.91% of our population uses ChatGPT as their daily search engine. So in India, basically AI holds a special place in each and every student's hearts. We can all agree on that. And most of the students they use AI to complete their schoolwork, assignments, or research or for brainstorming. But the continuous use of AI, it can actually reduce the critical perspective or hinder the formation of ideas in a younger population as they may be subjected to automation bias. And also AI is like the best revolution that has happened in the 21st century. So the problem here arises is that AI is like still in its primary stages, and much of the output that we get from the AI for our prompts is like the base output or the data is already available on Google. So and the students they actually copy the data which they receive and they directly paste it in their assignments without tweaking it, which might make them vulnerable to plagiarism or it might be labeled as an AI generated content. Also, AI it helps in providing straightforward answers and explanations. Also, the answers are very much structured, and it also provides examples. It may help a student to gain a better understanding of a specific concept. But people say that the use of AI is actually bad according to the traditional ways of learning. But the use of AI is actually not bad until it's just mindless copy pasting. Under NEP, there is an introduction of AI curriculum of in the curriculum of students, in which it might make them more aware about prompt engineering, what prompts they should post to get the desired output. Also, AI can be helpful for teachers as they can use it for marking tests or creating a database which might analyze each and every student's productivity. Further, as some of my colleagues said that AI actually uh, cannot replace teachers because teachers are more emotionally connected with their students. So I totally agree on that. And AI is not gonna take any teacher's place or any student's place because AI sometimes mostly uses a higher vocabulary, which will only be explained by a well-read teacher. Also, AI can be used by a student for time management, and it was actually introduced to simplify a student's work and not take a student's place. So the student should thus use it as a means to reach their end goals and not as an end goal in itself. So in the end, I want to conclude that AI is like a student's best opportunity forward if it is used under regulations. But if it is used mindlessly, it may result into a situation in future where the our younger minds are receiving work from AI and not prompting AI to do their work. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Atharv, ending on a very strong note. Vanshika, are you ready with your speech? Wonderful. Please go ahead and best of luck.
Good evening, everyone. When I think about school, I remember sitting in the class, copying notes quickly, hoping that I would understand everything later. Sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. And honestly, I didn't always feel confident enough to raise my hand and ask back then. Once the class ended, learning usually stopped. Today, it feels very different. We have moved from chalkboards to chatbots, and as a student, I feel that change every single day. Now, if something doesn't make sense, I don't have to carry that confusion with me all night and wait for the morning in order to uh, discuss it with my teacher. And I can look it up, break it down, and understand it on my own time. Learning doesn't feel rushed anymore. What I like about using AI is that it doesn't judge. I can ask same question again and again without feeling embarrassed. I can explore topics freely, slowly, and go deeper. If I'm curious for this first time, if I'm curious for the first time, learning feels adjusted to me, not just the other way around. This shift has also changed the classrooms. When information is easily available, classes feel different, more interactive. There are more discussions, more opinions, and more real conversations, to be honest. Teachers guide us instead of just giving notes. That makes learning more meaningful. But as students, we also need to be honest and the downsides. When answers are easily available, it becomes tempting to rely on AI instead of thinking. I'm so sorry, the voice in my background is causing the disturbance. Can I just pause for a second?
Sure, sure. Go ahead.
So sorry. We actually have a family gathering going on. I'm so sorry for the disturbance.
No worries, no
So
worries.
I'll continue. So there is also the issue that not every student has equal access to technology, which can increase the gap between students that have access to technology and that don't have access to technology. Uh, no matter what AI, how smart AI becomes, it cannot replace the human side of learning, making mistakes, working in groups, learning confidence, and building values through real interaction. So I don't think education is about choosing between chalkboards or chatbots. It's about using technology wisely while still putting the effort to think, question, and grow. Because AI can help us learn faster, but the real learning still depends on us. And at the last, I want to conclude my speech by saying that we should have some kind of classes or go that should be separately kept for students in order for them to learn about how well and how I would say how interactively or we should use AI. And thank you for that. I'm so sorry. I yeah, thank you so much. Sorry for this.
It's all right, Vanshika. The fact that you people are going beyond your way to even show up, that's all that matters. Showing up matters. Thank you. And next we have Sugandhi. If you're ready, please begin. Yeah, if you're ready, I'll start the timer. Best of luck.
Yes, ma'am, I'm ready. Thank you. Um, so I would first like to make it clear. My video is like visible, right?
Yeah, it's visible.
Oh,
You're on.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm audible also. Okay, cool. So I will first like to say that I'm like, it's not that I'm completely against the use of inculcating AI, but the way it has been used right now, and especially the role of AI right now, I would say that I'm strictly against it because the influence of day-to-day tasks which usually require like adaptive human thinking, such as like say like activities like comparing or even advertising or writing for official communication like in mails, and even trying to articulate one's point, they are all struggles that eventually lead to self-improvement, especially that of mind. But now these processes, instead of actually it has been offloaded. This is called cognitive offloading. And when these are being given to AI to do in a faster pace, or like it seems like it's being done at a faster pace, but it actually impairs a student's ability to learn. And a survey of 666 participants found a strong negative correlation between frequency of AI tool usage and critical thinking, with a negative critical thinking quotient of uh, minus 0.68. And also it also has another negative correlation between cognitive offloading and critical thinking, which again with a negative 0.75. So, and a controlled experiment with 30 young adults found that while tasks done with AI were faster, there were no significant improvements in like the core cognitive abilities like problem solving or verbal comprehension of people. And this is a huge deal. Also, another big thing is that we have been replacing emotional reassurance that we need to get from our peers and to form close relationships with friends our age, or even guidance from trusted elders. Instead of that, we have been kind of relying on emotional reassurance with AI. And this is due to the echo chambers that are formed when the words that the information that AI gives, it already supports our existing views and ends up validating them. Suppose a person says they want to die, it might there are a bunch of AI which have in the past said that okay, maybe you should die. So this we can see how it poses a problem. And 13% of US adolescents and young adults, with like a study of about 1058 people, reported using AI chatbots for mental health advice. Of those users, 66% engage at least monthly. And we have heard many news of this sort, and I would like to quote one such news. A mom thought her daughter was texting friends before her suicide, but was actually an AI chatbot. And she said, and I quote, "My belief was that she was texting with friends because that's all it is. It looks like they're texting, but instead it was an AI." So, yes, thing is, even though I agree with many people's opinion that we do need to inculcate AI in how we are going to use it, we have to like first recognize what downside it causes, and then work on what advantages we can create with it, instead of replacing or falling back on regurgitated answers that are given as a summary by AI. It can be used to refine researching or reading upon topics, like fine tuning the process, narrowing down relevant human articles, and we can pick how we want to write about it, perceive it, interpret it, and express it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sugandhi. You made us think a lot. Thank you so much for your speech. Next, we have Muskan. If you're ready, please go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Good evening, everyone. I stand in the favor of the use of artificial intelligence in education, but with clear responsibility and regulation. So, first, I'll begin with a question. When was the last time learning felt real to you? Not just memorized, not rushed, not just done for an exam. AI is already part of education today. Students use chatbots for clearing their doubts, teachers use technology for the assessments, and institutions use technology for experimenting with the digital tools. So, AI is already a part of our lifestyle, it is already a part of our education. So, the question is not whether AI should enter the education, it already has, but the question is how we use it. AI has strong advantages. It can personalize knowledge, it can personalize learning, it offers instant feedback, and it improves and supports students who lack access to the quality education and teaching. A student studying late at night, while or a student in a remote area who is studying can still learn with the guidance of a chatbot. In this way, AI can make education more accessible, but AI must not replace thinking. While preparing the speech, I used chatbot and not to obviously copy the speech, but to discuss ideas and understand this topic even more better. And I felt like it was a irony because this whole topic is about chatbots, like chalkboards to the chatbots. But at that time, this experience showed me something important that learning happens when AI supports our thinking, not when it replaces it.
So there are also some serious policy concerns, like such as the digital divides and internet can widen the education gap. Without the proper guidelines, AI tools may encourage students to take shortcuts, and instead of learning that they ask them like they encourage to take the shortcuts instead of learning. So there should be proper like regulation and digital literacy and ethical use, which are essential. So teachers remain central to the education not because AI can't provide us guidance, it can provide us guidance, but teacher holds responsibility, accountability, and social context, which a machine can't. So I support AI in education, but not as a shortcut, but as a tool. Because education is not about having ready answers, but about learning how to think. So I'll end my speech here. Thank you.
Thank you, Muskan. When we would have ended all our speeches, I was going to ask this very question, that how many of you used AI for helping you with your data collection or your speech? And yes, I understand the irony, and I'm pretty sure at least 95% of you probably used it, which is something that, well, we cannot really say if it's for AI or against AI, but we can't help it. It's part of our lives now. So next we have Dhriti. Dhriti, if you're ready, please go ahead. I'll start the timer.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, today we'll be like discussing from, to chalkboard to chatbots. So it's very rhythmic. It sounds very rhythmic. So education has been the foundation of progress, right? So for decades, the chalkboard symbolizes the classroom, which is basically simplicity, accessibility, and powerfulness. But today, however, we are witnessing a dramatic shift, right? Chatbots, AI, and digital platforms are beginning to redefine how knowledge is taught, assessed, or even personalized, right? Now, talking about NEP 2020, it recognizes this transformation and places FLN, foundational literacy and numeracy, at the heart of the early education, the early foundational years. So, while also envisioning technology as a critical part. Now, the question that arises in front of us is, how do we ensure that AI becomes a tool for inclusion and not just exclusion? So, the NEP 2020, it highlights that the potential of digital learning and AI to support the adapted platforms, personalized assessment, and the multilingual content delivery is very crucial. So, like these innovations, these can help children to grasp the foundational skills in a more efficient and an effective way. But the challenge remains the same. So, like millions of children still, lack access to devices or even internet in this matter. But this creates a digital divide. So the teachers too must, be prepared to embrace this change, as AI cannot, replace the teachers, but it can empower them. And we should also, address the ethical concerns that, surrounds the, data privacy, child safety, and, the algorithmic bias that the previous speakers have already talked about. So now moving forward, India must invest in the infrastructure to, ensure affordable devices and reliable connectivity. So we must build, the teacher capacity through like, continuous training. So this way, the teachers are more updated. So we must, design an inclusive AI tools that, serve diverse learners, including, the marginalized communities, children with disabilities, and we can learn from the global practices. So, like the countries like Finland and Estonia have already taken the models where AI can be responsibly integrated into the classroom. So India can also adapt such models. So in conclusion, I would just like to say that the chalkboard taught generations to read and write. Now the chatbots can help generations to think critically, solve problems, and prepare for the digital future. So for all the problems right now, technology is not alone the solution. It is like the policy, the vision, and the ethical implementation that will actually determine whether AI can bridge the opportunity or, be a barrier to equity. So, yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dhriti, for ending on a very practical note about adaptability. Next, we have Maria. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, best of luck. I'll start the timer.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I feel like till this point, a lot of the topics have been covered. So I'll just be covering a bit on that and give a few examples from like my own experiences. So I feel like from a policy making perspective, I feel like education is not just about effectiveness, right? It's about teaching children and mm, learning being the main objective. So I feel like okay, so I go to like MUNs and Model United Nations a lot. So recently I went to an MUN and the atmosphere was completely different because the like I feel like everybody's speeches sounded exactly the same, like generic, like just copying the same slop over and over again. So like it didn't feel interactive. And at one point, like even the chair board, like they were genuinely like, when is the session ending? Because it was not fun. I feel like when we start focusing on the end result too much, when we don't give the process the attention and the time it needs, I feel like that's the thing. Everyone wants to get complete an internship, but no one wants to do research for it. Everyone wants a certificate on their resume. Everyone wants this, everyone wants that. But are you willing to put the work for it? So I feel like it's like using AI for children nowadays. I feel like you need to learn hard work, you need to learn how to struggle, because if I had not known what a variable was, if I had not solved those linear equations in sixth grade and not failed so many times, I would not be able to solve those in the 10th grade. Right. So I feel like learning, it requires you to fail. It requires you to struggle and come back and learn from it. So like just like using chatbots for sure, like integrating them in some ways, it can be very helpful. But as an education, as a fundamental like point in education, I don't think it's uh, so someone I think mentioned the printing press, right? A printing press and AI, I don't think are comparable, because a printing press gave us the opportunity to have books, to get like accessibility for like the common people, right? But AI, it is accessible, but it is just data that is being fed into a computer. It's not new, it's not creating new data. It is biased in a lot of ways and it can be wrong. So using that kind of faulty data for the education system can prove to be really wrong in the longer run, I would say. And I feel like I think Ayushi mentioned a lot of good points. For sure, like the climate aspect of it, like we do know that the global south and everything that's happening there, that AI is using a lot of water and a lot of our resources to cool down. And when we see that already, like global warming and the greenhouse gas and everything that's happening, the climate is not in a good shape right now. So I feel like adding a huge factor into that, going into AI like full force, is not a good idea at an educational level. I feel like it has become a very key part of our lives. We will have to acknowledge that, because as it has been mentioned, a lot of people, even though they might be advocating against AI, we might have used AI for our speeches, like even me included, because it is part of our lives, right? So we have to kind of find the middle ground, and we have to remember that at the end of the day, it is who what we learn and what we inquire and what we use our brains for, right? So till the end of the day, it is your knowledge and it is your learning that's going to help you in the long run. Like an AI chatbot available to you 24/7 is not going to actually give you knowledge. You taking in that knowledge, you applying that knowledge will help that. So I feel like for children, especially in schools, giving them access to AI at a very young age would cause a huge decline in critical thinking, as we have seen that in the past 2 3 years, critical thinking has gone down. You know, so I feel like just uh, inculcating that media literacy is if one more point I want to include, that we really need to teach children media literacy, because nowadays there's so much different type of media that's out there. So I feel like a very key skill for children and for people and for adults everywhere would be media literacy, to understand what is media and not to take everything as like, take something as a grain of salt, and sort of do your own research, not taking everything very like this is a fact for sure. So I feel like going into that, we need to be cautious. And as policy makers, as people researching public policy, we need to be aware of that before we make sort of any like a big change in that field, for sure, I would say. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Especially taking your own experiences, speaking from your own experience makes it all the more real. And that was amazingly put. Next, we have Anam. Are you ready? Sure.
Hi Tanisha, since Anam is getting ready, I just want to take a moment. Sorry for interrupting. Um, everybody, first of all, it's very refreshing to hear all your perspectives here. I just want to say that as we have mentioned before, please don't think of Policy Manthan as a debate. I've seen a lot of you saying that I'm for or against AI. It is okay to take a stance, but it is not essentially a debate. We are here to put forward a balanced approach. And you know, I also want to, remind you once again that please try to switch on your cameras for the entire policy manthan. If you have a genuine reason, we understand. Otherwise, switching on our cameras is kind of a way of showing respect to our fellow speakers, because we are not just here to, of course we are here to put forward our perspective, but we are also here to listen to others and add value to our thoughts. So we will really appreciate it if you can switch on your cameras, even if you are done with your part. Thank you, Tanisha. You can continue.
Thank you, Bhavya. And yes, guys, please turn on your cameras. That'll be great. Anam, if you're ready.
I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready.
Great. All right. Please
All
start.
right.
Best of luck.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. At this point of time, we have all given up, dusty erasers, unsharpened pencils, and other such things for, shiny and easygoing algorithms. We have moved beyond the static and, the laid back world of chalk and board to the very like instant and infinite world of the chatbot. And the thing is that on the surface, it looks like a total revolution, different from everything that we have all witnessed until now. But there lies the paradox. While AI can provide us with all the information in the world, it still sort of lacks with the, the basic education, so to say. So today, I want to talk about the three areas where AI is still failing to make the grades or, progress. The very first one is the missing heartbeat. Now, AI can grade and mark like thousands of essays in just, like 1 second or two, maybe. It can spot all the comma errors, all the factual errors with like near God precision. But what it can't do is understand why the children, is why the child or why the children in general are struggling, or why did the student actually forget missing the very basic comma before. Now, it lacks the gut feeling, so to say, the natural intuition that a teacher has when they look at the child and realize that it's not maybe the lack of intelligence, but a lack of confidence, perhaps, or maybe a rough morning at home. Now, though many people will argue that you can trade humanism for maybe precision, it would like erase all the human spirit and compassion there is, and which is again a very core part of the learning too. Second is the very basic digital divide. This is like the fundamental. Now, when we talk about AI being an equalizer, we inadvertently forget that it might as well, be a great divider. If we build an AI education world or something, we risk creating a two-tier system. A very first one where there's like an elite group which get personalized AI within the comforts of their home, while the On the other hand, there is the marginalized group which struggle with the very outdated system they have, or the very rudimentary stuff as well. Now this defeats the purpose, because a revolution is not really a revolution when you leave half the people behind. The third is the systemic bias. Now, AI isn't really a neutral observer. All the data set, all the database that it is fed is Western and all the global non-database based, so to say. When a chatbot hears like regional dialect, it often flags it off as an error, or when it hears metaphors, it sort of like alienates them. So we risk creating a digital world that speaks a language that our own students struggle or fail to understand. Now, the conclusion is that AI is brilliant, it's amazing, it's a co pilot at the end of the day. We should never let it be the pilot. Now, as we move forward, we should ensure that we don't let the efficiency of AI overshadow the humanity of classroom. Thank you for being such patient listeners.
Thank you, Anam. That was very well put. Next, we have Ishita. If you're ready,
Yeah, I'm ready. I have some issues with my video. Is that okay if I switch it off?
if it creates a internet problem, sure, you can turn it off. But for the rest of you, please turn on your cameras. We are all adults here. All right. If Ishita, if you're ready,
Yeah.
great.
So, like to be speaking against the AI, the very reason I'm doing it is because I feel like the Indian education system has not really reached every grassroots level. So, before reaching the grassroots level, we cannot really say that it has been. In a stage where we can advance it, like we can put the AI, and I feel like it's gonna get few complications in that, because before reaching the whole people, we cannot really move forward, because ultimately we are skipping a lot of people behind. So, while also saying that, my very few points are. Which have been also mentioned by the previous speakers, which is the erosion of critical thinking. Now, even though we know that AI provides information in seconds, but it does very second before a student actually gets to analyze the question, actually think for themselves. So it attacks the very base level of the understanding. So the intellect itself. So which is at stake. We know that everybody uses it. But we have to really think for ourselves that is it really necessary to use it this quick. Like we can take a thought for ourselves, and then maybe we can think about using the AI. But very like a number of people, they usually opt to go for AI rather than thinking about it in the first place. Later, it's like the de-evaluation of the educator, because even though we can rely on AI for quick responses, like even though the student might be like introvert, might not be able to feel very confident to go to the teacher, but we should know that even though AI provides answers, it cannot really look for give the validation to the students, which usually every student wants to have a feedback from the teachers. When they learn something, they really want to know that if this is correct, because we can see that if the AI is always like trying to help us, like if you need anything, please let me know, and even if we ask any opinions, it will be supporting us rather than giving us the genuine honest review which only a teacher can provide. And it also lacks the emotional intelligence, which is really important for child development. When we really go forward to ask the AI bot, it would probably tell us very positive things, but actually we need the genuine reaction, which can be only given by the teacher. And also when we go to AI, it builds a platform like an endless loop of isolation, because if you go and opt for chatbots, you would rather assume that it is easy to go to a chatbot rather than going to an educator, because probably you might be feeling really underconfident. But it leads to a loop of loneliness, because at the end of the day a student really wants a human connection, because at the end of the day they have to go into the real world. We cannot really save the students from the reality, so they have to understand that what is really happening, and how can they go into the world and talk to them. Even the communication skills are really getting low, like ever since there is social media, I barely see people going and talking to each other. So AI has worsened it, to be honest. And later, I would like to say that the point which was raised by my previous speakers also, the digital divide is not really a mere concept. It is like very major stake, which a lot of people might not be able to access the internet, because probably they don't really have phones, or they don't really have the resources. So it is important for us to provide those resources before thinking that skipping to AI rather than the teacher mode of education. Sure, we can do the teacher mode, and we can also indulge like partially into the AI, because we know that over dependence is, at the end of the day, it is very dangerous for us. Because we are humans, we would probably, it would be better for us to go like a human to human interactive mode rather than completely depending on the AI. With that, I would like to rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you, Ishita. Thank you for bringing out this point as well about how we are losing the human connection ever since the age of technology is here. It's decreasing day by day. And that is something that we should think about, the fact that we're having a Google Meet, a Zoom Meet here instead of being together. But it also makes us think that we might have never met if it hadn't been for technology. So, yes, both sides of the coin. Yashasvi, if you're ready, please go ahead. I'll start the timer.
Yeah. So I'll start right now. Okay, one thing I think all here, irrespective of whether you're representing for or against the argument of whether or not AI should be introduced in our education system or not, is that AI is a part of the way our world functions now. It is completely impossible in the current paradigm to rid ourselves or this world completely of AI use. But the problem with it is what was meant to assist is consuming completely. So, when we talk about chalkboards to chatbots, it sounds very poetic. But the ultimate thing is, education is not merely about information delivery, it's a human process that relies on interaction and critical engagement. As we see around ourselves, if there's a student who needs to prepare a 500 word speech by tomorrow morning, what they do is they go on to ChatGPT, they write their prompt, and boom, there's a speech for them. This weakens the students' cognitive abilities. These chatbots, they provide instant answers, but it disallows them from actually thinking about what they're writing, actually thinking about what they could have written instead of what was written by the chat gpt bot for them. Secondly, as I was listening to everyone's speeches, they said that okay, there's a child in some rural village who can also rely on ChatGPT to learn from ChatGPT. Okay, great. But the thing is, if we talk about the realities of our world, not everywhere is it the situation that everyone has internet, not everyone has a smartphone. Still in this century, not everyone has a smartphone. There are people who are so disconnected with the urban cities and with the way that our world is progressing right now that they don't have access to it. There is a digital divide in between people, and even to them ChatGPT is not accessible. So if we talk about the access to education, it in that paradigm it's still not accessible. What I would suggest is, because we obviously cannot rid our world completely of AI, what we need to do instead is we need to increase the way in which we need to
make students more aware about how to use it. They shouldn't use it simply, oh, I have an assignment due in an hour and I have not studied anything. So let's just go on to ChatGPT and get a speech or get a full assignment written. No, that is not what they should do. We should teach them how to use ChatGPT instead of just taking it away from them. When we were children and we were caught on our phones, our parents used to simply take away the phone and say that you're not allowed to use the phone. That simply does not work because we still go in their cupboards and we find that phone and we still use it, because that simply does not work. Telling a child that you can't do this makes them want to do it even more, and that's just simple human behavior. What we need to do instead is teach them how to use ChatGPT to strengthen their learning, to enrich their learning, instead of telling them simply that you shouldn't use ChatGPT, because they're going to use ChatGPT in the end, because that's the world we live in right now. So even though my argument is against ChatGPT, because ultimately it is leading, because the way in which students are using it right now, in the way in which the world is using it right now, it's leaning towards a world that is so disconnected with each other, that is so disconnected in the paradigms of learning, because their learning is a very intricate process. You research, you learn, you read, you discuss it with other people, and AI ultimately is leading to an erosion of that factor. What we need to do is find a way and teach that way to help the students, to help the world enrich their learning, instead of just telling them that you can't use ChatGPT. And that's all I'm going to say for this speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Yashasvi. That was very well put. Twinkle, you're next. If you're ready, please begin.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. Today I am here to express my views on the topic from chatbots to chatbot. The exciting transition from chalkboards to chatbot represent a future in which technology and people collaborate to build more effectively and inclusive education system. It has widely acknowledged that the student's success indirectly correlated with the both amount of quality and the participation in classroom environment. The chalkboard was introduced in early 19th century, and the technology had evolved as well as education tools. AI reshaped education and workforce development. The Ministry of Education proposed the uh, establishment of the Center of Education in AI for the Educations, and it has dedicated a certain amount of budget on around 500 crores under the Union Budget 2025 and 26. AI also helps in building awareness in education. It gives chance to learn, to it gives chance to different types of teaching. AI encourage initiatives that force AI-driven involved in education, include students-led programs and institutions researchers. AI also help to frame proper sentences for students who are facing difficulties, who afraid to confront the teachers. AI opened a whole new world for the students as well as for the teachers. AI assistant is determined as people's knowledge gap and create customized customized study plan for each and every student according to their preferences. AI create a proper learning environment also result in boosting students engagement and motivates them to learn more personalized according to their understanding. Some precautions of AI tool is that students should double check the data that is given by AI tools, and because it sometimes the data is old or it is biased, and should avoid enclosing their sensitive details. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Twinkle. Yeah, time is over. Thank you for giving us a data analytical side of this topic as well. Next, we have Gayatri. If you're ready, please go ahead. Gayatri.
Yes, I hope I'm audible and you can
Yes,
see me.
yes.
Um,
Please go ahead.
First of all, I want to thank you, Sarkari School, for this opportunity. And second thing, if there is any background noise, I'm really sorry for that. There is this election result day today, and everyone is so crazy about it. So let's start. Today, I want to begin my speech by talking about this inspiring teacher from a small village of my particular district, Jalgaon, Maharashtra. She's a Zilla Parishad teacher named as Ujwala Wadekar. She has become quite famous not because of her fancy teaching or a very expensive research teaching, but because of her unique and practical style of teaching. What she does is she teaches through actions and sign languages, making learning very engaging. Every Saturday, she, instead of keeping the students inside four walls, what she does is she takes them to a learning trip to a student's parents' workplace. It could be a farm, a shop, a saloon, or any small business. And there, students don't just read books; they observe, they ask, they understand how real life works. And the result of this method is amazing. Her students are so sharp that they can solve division problems with more than 100 digits, something many of us could find difficult even with calculators. This teacher shows us there's something very important. There's a what do you say? A space between textbooks and artificial intelligence. And that is where real education happens. Today we know that AI is everywhere. We live in an age of AI. AI is very helpful, but on the same hand, it is very harmful in education. Like students depends on it too much. Many students now use AI to complete assignments, write speech, and answers and solve problems instantly in seconds. What this reduces the critical thinking and deep understanding of the knowledge. Slowly, what happens is learning has become a shortcut. Marks has become more important than a real life understanding of topics. Academic dishonesty is increasing. uh, Many students are lacking the skill of um, writing, reasoning, researching, and problem solving. Moreover, not every student has equal access to AI tools. Everyone is not privileged like us, which can increase inequality in education. So while AI is very powerful, without proper limits, it can negatively affect us all. On the other hand, traditional textbook methods teaching is also has its limitations. When education is restricted only memorizing theories and concepts and definition, students may score well in exam but struggle in real life. Textbook often focuses heavily upon exams, not application of the practical or the practical understanding of the theories. So what is the solution? Yeah, the solution is that life depends on balance. What I want to say, I'm sorry, I got distracted. What my solution is, it lies in the balance education, learning that connects textbooks, real world experiences, and technology wisely, like that teacher of Jalgaon. Education encourages curiosity, observation, practical understanding in her classroom. I don't say that uh, AI is very bad or textbooks are very outdated, but there's this place, between AI and textbook, and it is very important for us to understand and um, give this opportunity for the next generation to have such amazing professors and teachers. Um, that's all.
Thank you, Gayatri. I love the personal anecdote. All right. I think we have Mimansha and Tulsi left. Who would want to go first?
Hi, I'll go.
Great, wonderful. I'll start the timer. Best of luck.
Yeah. So I just wanted to start by saying my points align with Yasha's views a lot, and I agree with her points a lot, except I am for AI. Yeah. So education has never been static. Okay, so we moved from folklore to we've moved to writing on rocks, then to blackboards, and then with the invention of internet, we've had this big, large computers, and then computer labs. Then we had smart boards, and now we have AI. So there's this proper transgression that's happening. I'm sure back when internet was introduced, people did have such debates and they were afraid if internet was taking over. And it did, right? And it was of some great use and it took over the world. And just like that, AI today has taken over the world. And I think it would be foolish as a society if AI wasn't introduced in education level, okay, from the primary itself. And just like everything, AI has its pros and cons. And like most of my fellows talked about, very well put it, of how it's actually very inclusive, how it's very personalized. A student who may not be able to raise their hand in the class will definitely go back and do some research themselves. And in a country like India, where the ratio of teachers and students are at a very critical stage, AI plays a big role there. And we as a country have a lot of cases going on where students face all sorts of abuses in schools. Like recently, also there was this case. So in critical situations like this, where students might be facing all sorts of different problems, AI becomes a friend, and we tend to depend on it, right? So even for us as a college going student, my 30 minutes of research becomes my 30 seconds of work done by ChatGPT. And that is AI makes our lives so much easier that we tend to over depend, and which is basically the con of AI, right? Um, so I feel there is this big over dependence. I don't know, for personally for me, I feel maybe we are misusing it a lot because it's just been introduced. Like it's just been over like 2 or 3 years. So there's a lot of misuse happening because there's a lot of, new things. I'm sitting here right now, you can just make me wear a sari out of nowhere, right? So it's just this cool things that's happening. So with Gen Z populations, everything. But then I feel if we integrate AI properly, and we groom the youngsters, the young generation from a very young age on how to use it and how to properly and not to abuse AI, it's going to be a great tool. Because today in the job market, you go to Naukri, you go to LinkedIn, anywhere in the job market, you will not find a job that is 30% of, barely even 30, 20% of job may not ask for AI skills. Rest everything they ask for AI skills. And myself, I feel I wish I had, some kind of AI knowledge, because that is so important today in this job field. And not introducing an education level, it's a failure. Yeah, but talking about the drawbacks, I feel what can be done is basically, like many of my fellows said, it's how to use it, right? Not if you shouldn't or it has to be used, I feel. So basically it's like you can do it as an open exam book. However we do an open book exam, okay, you have the contents there. The teachers give the content, like how, like for example, a teacher can say, like look up on how what are the causes for independence of India. After that, it's the critical thinking skills that needs to build up from a very young age. It's the hands-on learning that needs to be built. The AI is feeding you all the pointers, but it's your research and your input, a written input on how it's, on making it relevant, and seeing its relevance, and doing the factual check and everything. So with an NEP 2020, like we had this in the previous session, they're mostly focusing on hands-on learning and critical thinking. So that I think plays a big role in the introduction of AI. So yeah, it's not about if we should do it or not do it, because we are in the face of AI, and not doing it would be kind of foolish. So it's basically allowing it, but monitoring it. Yeah, that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mimansha. That was very well put. I think we only have left Tulsi, right?
Hello.
Hi, are you ready?
Hi, hi Tanisha. Actually, I was added into the group today only, and
Okay.
I was not aware about the structure and like everything. So sir told me to join the group and join the meeting today.
All right, no
So
worries, no worries. I think you had to learn a lot sitting through all these speeches. I'm pretty sure you're very well up to date on the topic as well, even though you hadn't prepared.
also, I wanted to ask like when will I be getting the briefing for the internship?
I think Bhavya can answer that better.
Hi Tulsi, since you have joined the group today, we will try and manage to, personally provide you with the documents stating how to submit your articles and, how our policy months are held. So please wait, we'll get to you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, guys, I think that leads us to the end of our first policy manthan. And I have to say that I'm very impressed and I enjoyed this almost 1.5 hours thoroughly. I loved how you all drew from your own personal experiences, and all of your speeches were very unique, and the way the delivery of your speeches was so unique. It just warms my heart to see so many brilliant and amazing people here, so thank you so much for that. And okay, so talking about wrapping up this discussion, I think it's safe to say that everyone here understands the basic concept that AI is it's not really positive like altogether, and it's not really negative. It's more in a gray area. The fact that it's just developing is just a baby right now. And say if you don't know AI or if you've never used AI, it's like you're on the backdrop of it. Say when computers came, and when someone would say, hey, I don't know computer, that is what today is like. If you say, hey, I don't know how to use AI, and that does give you sort of like a negative impact on where you can lead if you can use AI. So I think a lot of you brought up amazing points, and sorry, and I think we've covered mostly everything when it comes to the scope of what AI can do when it comes to its impacts, its repercussions, its benefits, and everything. But the core concept is that when it comes to the objective of education, like what is the purpose that education serves us, is that we need to learn. When students are put into school, the teachers basically want to create an environment where they can create leaders of the future who can actually think, who can create policies, who can actually make a difference and change. Now the question is, what is the best way possible to lead to that end goal, and is there AI involved in that or not? And I think one of you mentioned about this, that AI is here. If you do not use it, if you do use it, there is just no escaping it, because nobody could really fight computers because it's here. Like nobody can really say that I am of technology. You are using technology, and AI is here to stay. That being said, when it comes to regulation, when it comes to, I think a lot of you agreed on this point as well, that we need regulation. We need to teach the students ethical use. We need to teach them how to actually use AI. And when it comes to learning through AI, is just not chat GPT. I think a lot of you must be aware that now different, like let's say Google Gemini, Google Notebook, they're creating different versions of AI just for education purpose. And I think that is a beginning, but we also need to hold our like government responsible when it comes to regulation as well, because free use of anything, over dependency of anything is obviously not going to have the best impact. So for us to be efficient, we need to realize that there has to be a middle ground, there has to be regulation. And as long as there are people like us, there are young students like us who are talking about this, who are thinking and have the capacity to actually have discourse about the new changes, we'll be fine. And I think I would like to end this here. If anybody would like to add anything or have any questions, please go ahead. Okay, I think nobody does. Bhavya, can we just end the meet now?
Yes, sure, Tanisha. I just want to say that, since we are talking about reinventing education through AI, uh, there is, at different stages of a student's life, their needs are really different. And as you said, I completely agree with you there, because, a balance is required. At certain stage of a student's life, they require a lot of discipline, which AI cannot, help with that. A teacher is required, a mentor is required, and mind stimulating activities which can only be performed through a teacher presence, is important. And when they pass through that phase of life, they understand that they responsibly use AI. And how you said that it is the need of an hour also, so we cannot escape AI, of course. So I just want to say that all of you, in certain way, one way or the other, you mentioned all of these stages. Some of you were for AI and some of you were against. So in one way or the other, you completely, covered all of the stages of a student's life, like how AI is important in the later stages and in the primary stages of a student's life, how a balance is required. So thank you for all your perspectives. And one note that I won't specifically say that to anybody, but a few of you were reading from your notes, like the whole thing. That is not encouraged here. If you can, it is okay to have pointers in front of you and you can glance over them, but reading the whole thing is not encouraged. So please try to refrain from that from now on. That's it, Tanisha.
Can we have everyone please turn on their camera so we can have like a group picture as the commemorative thing for our yeah, let's just wait 5 seconds. Can we see more pretty faces, please? All right, guys, say cheese, I think. All right, great. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I hope to see you next Friday, 7 p.m. And please come prepared and please keep your cameras on. And this was amazing. Thank you so much and good night.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.